We're just walking into Abernethy across the Cairngorm Plateau, and we've got 3,000 Downy Willow trees to carry into the site, which will then be planted out there. So these are Downy Willow. They are a shrub or small tree, kind of grow sort of knee height, waist height. You can see the lovely downiness of the leaves that gives them their name. And there's only about 30 of these left around Lough. These used to grow kind of across the high ground of the Cairngorms, but decades of sort of excess browsing pressure and various other things have meant that they're now locally very scarce. So we're trying to plant these out, restore the habitat. So right now we've crossed over the plateau and we're now looking down into Corriedyvon and down into the Lough Basin. So the remnant willows that are still kind of clinging on here are mostly at the base of crags, in sort of buried by snow in late lying snowfields where they've had a bit of protection from from hare and deer and everything. So we're just giving them a wee drink. It had been very hot and dry recently, and I'd deliberately kind of let them get quite dry for carrying over the hill so that we're not carrying really heavy waterlogged trees. And now we're just making sure that they survive the couple of days until they're planted. We want to plant them out in the best condition possible, give them the best chance of survival. There will be quite high failure rates because the conditions are so harsh, and part of what we're doing is it's going to be monitoring these and seeing what sites succeed, what fails, and really learning about kind of montane willow restoration as part of that.
Up on these crags we get some very isolated individuals. Some of them can be just male or female, just on their own. So they can't reproduce because they need a male or a female nearby to help cross-pollinate. Well, this is one of our Downy Willows. As you can see, it's just hanging on to the crag where it's not been browsed by any herbivores. It's still only just coming out into leaf, but you can see it's already flowering. I think this one's actually a male. These plants would have grown a lot more abundantly down where we were earlier, down at the bottom of the hill there, on this nice flattish, flushy ground, but far more accessible to herbivores down there, of course. Whereas up here, these are just clinging on where nothing can get at them. So yeah, they're survivors, only just. Is that we're going to put more individuals between the remnant individuals on the crags so they can actually have little stepping stones to each other, because they're insect pollinated, so the insects need to jump between plants, and the problem with that is if they're not close enough they can't reproduce.
Is this tinder for montane willow?
Yes, I would say so.
We put the call out to staff and volunteers of all the Cairngorms Connect partners and to the National Park and the Friends of Abernethy, and so we end up with 40 people today coming out and helping with the trees, and everybody has contributed by carrying trees in. It's just over 7.5 miles, I think, in terms of total distance to come up and over the top down to here and then back again. You're dealing with sort of landscape, they're so huge, so enormous, that the idea of influencing them in some, with a group of people is quite empowering.
I mean, for me, like, part of the joy of this is that it allows people to connect with the landscape. People being part of nature and coming out and doing something together as a community and connecting with wild spaces and with the landscape.
Sad to see your babies go, or happy?
No, delighted, yeah. Let them fly the nest, hope they get on fine.